All right, we should be live here. I can see some people coming online. Great, they are popping in nice and hot and fresh. Here we go. Cool, well, we'll get started here in just a minute. I got 11 o'clock right on the dot. Thanks for coming in, everybody. We'll give everyone a few minutes to get in, maybe 30 seconds, maybe a minute or two at the most, but I see them coming in on the participant list here real fast, so that's good. Awesome. I'm glad you guys showed up early. We will probably hit our 100-seat limit on this, so I'm glad you guys are here now when you're here. Like I said, we'll get started here in just a minute. Just checking a few things here.
Yep, there will be a replay. Brett has asked a question.
Oh. Yep, we will have a replay of this. We are recording right now, at least I hope we are. Let's double check that. Yep, I got a recording sign up here, so we should be good there. So yeah, Brett, there will be a recording here. Awesome. So we'll give they're still popping in here. Hello, everybody. Glad you're here. We're going to get started in just a minute. Nancy Inglis, good to see you. I'm guessing Dan must have just wrapped up with his call. Nancy emailed me last night and said, I want to come, but we've got Dan. And I said, well, Dan never goes more than an hour. So I was on there too, Nancy, kind of listening along while I was putting the final preps on this. So I've got 11:02. We're going to go ahead and get started. Keith, if you want to kind of keep an eye on the chat there while we do this.
I'll do that.
I don't have any real formal introductions for you guys today. If you're here, you probably know us. If you're from Keith's List, I'm Travis Lee. I co-founded 3D Mail, so you can see my stuff here. And then you got Keith over there. Keith, founder and runs Keith Lee Business Systems. But we're here to talk marketing during interesting times. And that's what we're going to really kind of focus on today is what are some things that you can do right now? And then what are some things that you can do as we come out of this to strengthen your business? And that's what we're really looking forward to talk about. That's what we're going to do today. We do have Q&A. So if you've got a question, go ahead and raise your hand. There should be a little button at the bottom of your screen there, and you can hit raise your hand. Keith will kind of keep an eye on that. Both of us will, but I'll be doing more of the talking. He'll be chiming in. So if you get questions as we go along, we are going to take questions after each one of these kind of broad topic of 10. We plan to have you in and out of here in an hour with the actual presentation. If we have Q&A go on beyond that, that's fine. You're welcome to stay with us. But Keith, I know you wanted to start with a couple of things here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on over here to just those 3 bullet points that you wanted to start off with. So I'll turn it over to you, Keith, and you can give your little introduction. I know you said you had some members of yours that you've been communicating with, so go ahead. I'll let you have at it.
And there's a question here. Are you sharing slides? Now there's slides on here, if that's what you mean. And maybe you need to let us know if you're seeing those or not. But Travis will also be sending the slides out to anybody who's been on here. The one thing I wanted to talk about a little bit here is that I've been sharing my making lemonade out of this coronavirus with your clients. And I wanted to talk about, because we're talking strategies here, not tactics, and just a little bit about the difference. These are the strategies in my making lemonade that I told all of you should be using right now to make the best out of this corona thing that's going on. So the biggest strategy that you can use right now, and you're going to see how this gets into one of the 10 strategies that we're going to be talking about later, is give your clients something they can use for free right now that they can really use right now. So that's the main reason I did my Making Lemonade series, is to share with you what other people were doing in order to get through this thing and come out and have that relationship even better than when you went in. The other thing in the strategy was get something done now that you haven't been able to get done before. So I shared some of those ideas, and create new products or services and a new income stream. So those are strategies, okay? Now, for those of you that have been reading my Making Lemonade series, and thank you, a ton of you have, and you've told me how much you like it, so that's awesome, I love that. For those of you that have been doing that, those are tactics, okay? But today we're going to talk more on strategies, and a lot of those strategies, some of those strategies you're going to want to use right now, and some of them you're going to want to use no matter what's going on in the economy. And the other thing is to make sure that that you're getting ready for the next time this happens. There will be a next time. There will be a 2008 Great Recession. There will be a 9/11. There may be another pandemic, whatever. But what's critical about that is that you get ready. You use these starting now and going forward. Someone asked, how can we get your Making Lemonade? Just send an email to me, keith@keithlee.com, keith@keithlee.com. I'll make sure you get them from here going forward. And I think what I'm going to do is there's some great stuff in there. I may make maybe it won't be a product that I sell probably, but it will be a PDF that I make available that will almost be a book by the time it's done. So that's the biggest thing: strategies versus tactics. What we're going to talk about now is not only for now, but for the going forward also. So I'll let you go, Trav.
Great. So like I said, we're going to go through these 10. We'll kind of take Q&A. You can type it in. You can raise your hand. We'll see how far along we get with the Q&A. We will take time at the very end. So if we don't get to your question right away, we'll get to it at the end. So we're going to roll right in here with, let's see here. Roll right in with strategy number 1. And we'll make sure you guys get the slide deck and the replay. So first off, strategy number 1 is be sure you have and get and continue to get sustainable customers. And here's what I mean by that. The only real equity in almost any business is the customers and the relationships that come with them, right? Very, very few of us have products or services that are genuinely unique that they can only get from us, right? So the power is in the relationship and the equity with those people, right? Carnegie, of course, had the great line that said, take away my buildings, my capital, my products, my staff, but leave me my customers, and I'll have everything back in short order. And if you can't say that, then you need to urgently change your customers. Now, it may not be actually changing your customers. It may be how you communicate with your customers and how you give them service, whether it be through an actual product, a physical product, a service. But you need to have that sweat equity with them. And you can start that now. If you have neglected this, if this is something that you have, not done, it is something that you can do right now. So one of the big things that we're doing in doing things like this is we are really trying, we're still trying to get new customers right now. Thankfully, we're in a position where we can still do that. But a lot of our time and energy and money and sweat equity is being put into doing things like this and giving you guys as much value as we can at this time, right? We're trying to put that, what Dan Kennedy says, put that iron cage around your clients and customers, right? So that's what we're looking to do. And we do this with specific targeting for customer acquisition. And in an oversaturated economy, this is more critical than ever. And I've got a great example of this here in a second. But you want to market. So this now goes a little bit now to the front end of that funnel, right? When you are going to get it, but you want to market for the who and not for the what. And I've got a couple great examples of this. And then Keith, if you want to chime in, feel free. One of us is our bankruptcy. So we work with a lot of bankruptcy attorneys, right? And most bankruptcy attorneys, if they're going to do advertising, they're going to do mass advertising. They're going to do radio and TV and that kind of stuff, maybe do newspaper or whatever. But they're marketing the what, or they're marketing what they do in the hopes that there's somebody out there that needs what they do. Well, what we teach our bankruptcy attorneys to do is to go out and get lists of people, publicly available lists of people who have the problem you solve, right? So if someone is being sued, if someone is being foreclosed on, if someone is facing an eviction, right? Those are all publicly available lists in most places. So now we're marketing for the who, right? We know who we can target, right? Another great example, I work with a chiropractor. And to call him just a chiropractor is not giving him his service. He's got 16 alphabet soups after his name, right? But what he targets is Parkinson's, people with Parkinson's disease. So now we're marketing, and again, that's a list that we can get. So we're marketing for the who, not for the what. Keith, any thoughts on that? I know I see you typing away there.
Yeah, I'll quit typing. And just say, you provide the list was a question from Terry, and the answer is yes. And when it comes to direct mail in particular, the list is the most important part, and that's what Travis. I see that, Sandra, and that's what Travis is really really good at. That's Dan Kennedy will tell you 50% of a direct mail is marketing, is list. Maybe about 30% is 30% is the offer, and 20% is the copywriting. Now, this is the guy who makes his money at copywriting, and he's telling you that, okay? Done for you services, it's what Travis does mostly, is totally done for you stuff. We have people that we are essential here in Washington State. So we've got people in the other part of the building right now stuffing envelopes, okay?
And if you have real specific questions, we may not reach out. We may not touch them right here. We'll try to keep the questions more broad for the group. If you have specific questions, we will get a copy of this and we'll reach out to you a one-on-one. So number two.
Okay, but what I want to go back to here is you talked about the who and getting this more is this one is about putting a iron cage around your people. So one of the things I want to talk about is when you are doing, for instance, email blasts or whatever, write for the people that you want. Don't write for people who really aren't that connected to you. Don't worry. I'm going to tell you, don't worry about opt-ins much at all. My Making Lemonade series has been fabulous for me making stick with the people who kind of like me to start with, but now they're like raving fans about me. At the same time, I have more opt-outs than ever because they're getting daily emails from me. And they're like, I want daily emails from him. You know what? I don't care about those people. Write to the people that are going to become your clients, that are interested in what you're doing, that understand that in this time, if somebody follows me just a little bit and doesn't know that I really care about you guys there, and they're thinking this is all just marketing tactics to get money, and yeah, sure, I like money, and at the end, it will get money, but it's also caring about your customers and making sure that your patients and your customers and your clients know that. Biggest thing is don't worry about opt-ins so much. Write to the people that are at least somewhat interested in you, and don't worry about opt-ins, opt-outs too much.
Great. So strategy number 2, sell at the bottom or the top, but get out of the middle. And we saw this to a huge degree with every recession. Every time we've come up against something like this, you saw it in 2008, you saw it in 2001, but the economic divide will be worse with the middle income and the consumers than any other hotspot. So you either want to move up, right, which is where I would prefer to be, right? So move up into the upper income earners, or move down into the lower income earners. But the middle, especially for the time being, there's going to be a huge divide in there, right? So you're going to see, like any economy, you're going to see some people in the middle move up. You're going to see more of the people in the middle possibly moving down. The poor are going to stay poor, and the rich, by and large, are going to stay rich, right? So that middle soft spot is a real tough to live right. It's a real tough place to live right now and in an ongoing scenario, right? JCPenney is talking about bankruptcy right now. right? Well, who do they serve? Well, they're right smack dab in the middle. They're not Walmart and they're not Neiman Marcus, right? So you've got those issues going on. Fast casual restaurant chains are, even during the best of times, were hurting, right? So think of the Red Lobsters and the Olive Gardens and those types of things. Those middle of the road fast casual, up until 4 weeks ago, even they were struggling mightily, right? So it just shows you there's that divide in there. And so if I'm in your shoes, I'm going one of two ways, and I prefer to go up. I'd rather always be the Neiman Marcus than the Walmart. You know, that's my choice. But the middle is going to erode, especially in the short term, and you're going to see that take longer to recover now the longer this kinds of stuff goes on, right? So I would suggest retreat up or retreat down, but don't stay in the middle.
Yeah, I'll add to that, you know, when I first read Dan's book on marketing to the affluent, I was thinking marketing to Bill Gates and marketing to rich people. If you get into that book, it's really talking about marketing to the mass affluent. And that's what we're talking about here. We're not talking about just marketing to rich people. We're talking about the millionaire next door. And, you know, there's a hell of a lot of millionaires next door on this call right now. So that's what we're talking about. And I'll give you an example with me. I have a vacation house. I use it. I have it on VRBO as a rental. It's if anybody wants, it's almost sold out all summer, so you can't get in. But and it's not cheap. It's for the millionaire next door, and that's what I want to be that's the market I want to be in, rather than a vacation rental that's renting for $69 a night. Okay, so don't get too caught up in what the top is. The top is still a huge market, because there is a huge mass affluent out there. So don't get caught up. Again, my mistake originally with this was thinking that it's just rich people. No, that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, very cool. Number 3, solidify your base. Equity is in the strongest of relationships. So this kind of goes back to our first one here, right? Where the important part was to, you know, re-engineer who you were offering to. And once you re-engineer the who you're offering to, now you can solidify that base dramatically, right? Now you can actually put equity into that. You can build the relationships. So you better be important to and genuinely loved by your customer base, right? There is little else you can depend on, right? So I know when we do things like this and we get hundreds of people opting in and wanting to come to these things, that we're doing that. We're talking to them. We're important to them. They're taking time out of their day to come and do this with us, right? So you've really got to be communicating with your customer and really putting that sweat equity into it. So what does that look like? What are some of the marketing strategies behind that? Well, so it begs the question of, can you offer some kind of membership or continuity, right? Is there a membership model or a continuity model that works for you? Real briefly on continuity, those of you that may or may not know what it is, it's essentially usually monthly, sometimes yearly, but usually a monthly kind of subscription where you deliver services or goods and then you bill them automatically. Right, that's essentially what it is. Now, you've seen this take off dramatically with software companies, right? So you used to be able to just buy Microsoft Word, right? And I don't know what the price was. You used to just be able to buy it. Mm-hmm. Now they bill you once a month for it, right? And all the other softwares that come with it. So you've seen this. Disney Plus, Netflix, right? Those are versions of continuity. Well, what are some of the unobvious places to build some continuity into your business? Well, over the years we've had a window washer in one of our mastermind groups use continuity. How does it work for a window washer? If the window washer is lucky, he'll get business from a house once, maybe twice a year, right? That's if they're a good client. Well, what one of our members has done over the years is to add continuity to his window washing business. So what does that look like? He tells them when they come to do the first job, if you want, we can set you up on monthly billing, and I will come wash your windows 4 times, and here's your price for the 4, but I'm only going to charge you what I would normally charge for 3 cleanings. And now he gets to bill them every single month. That's how continuity can work in an unobvious business. What does that do for his business? It helps with his cash flow, right? So now instead of having huge ups and huge downs, he's able to spread that money out over the whole course of the 12 months. He's able to lock that person in long term. So when it does, he's never shopping for another window washer. He's probably never shopping for other services that he offers, like gutter cleaning and roof cleaning and power washing and things like that. So he's locked him in there. He's spread out his cash, right? So now he doesn't have these big ups and downs like so many people in home services do. And he's actually done a favor for the client, because the client now gets that cost spread over 12 months, right? So there's, again, he doesn't have a big bill to pay. His house is cleaner. Everything is cleaner. Right, so that's how a unobvious business can do it.
Let me comment. That's Sean, real quick. Sean is the thing I asked him when he started putting this together. When I made the suggestion was, does it take less time to clean windows if they never get really dirty, versus if they're really dirty once a year? And he says, yeah, way less time. So the reality is he's spending less time. Because he gets through the windows really fast, even though he's charging them only for 3 window cleanings for 4 times. It's not taking him any longer. In fact, it's taking less time. Now you're also in that client's place 4 times a year. You're there, and you're offering gutter cleaning and pressure washing, and you're building that relationship. That's what's critical. And by the way, I was his first client. He signed up for that, and I've been with him now for about 12 years doing that. His guy, he sends the same guy almost every time, and the guy brings the biscuit for the dog. There's no way in hell I could stop this anymore and have a happy wife.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just no way. Okay.
Yeah, so that's what so look at your business. Where are the things that, and it may not be an obvious place in your business. We were just talking with Dr. Siegfried, and I'm not sure if he's on the call. We were just talking with him yesterday, Keith, and he was looking for ways to do this. And he's got his own white label supplements. And we had introduced him to essentially the MLM model of supplements, which is give them a very low price introductory offer, get them agree to pay, and you ship them once a month until they say uncle, right? And if what you're doing is really good for your clients, they'll appreciate it. They won't see it. So he does. What was the one? It was arthritis, I think, was the one he had the big one on, and that was. I mean, if that is a true cure and a helpful for that person, it's only going to help, right? So it may not be. So Dr. Siegfried's a chiropractor, right? Cracking backs, cracking necks, right? That's his core business. But the continuity can often be things that aren't your core business. We have a handful of them in our businesses, and they're loosely tied to direct mail, right? But they're it's not all direct mail. The next thing in this topic is take super care of your top 5%, right? I think everyone knows Pareto curve, 80-20 rule. 80% of anything comes from 20% of anything, right? So your top 80% of your income comes from 20% of your people. Right now, you need to switch that to more of like a 95-5, right? So who are the 5% of your customers that, whether you can be in business right now or not, that if you're doing it right now, pay extra care to them. If you are shut down for any reason and you do have to kind of claw your way back, this is where you want to be spending your time. Your top 5%. In fact, I was just on a call, I mentioned with Nancy, I was just on a call with her and Dan Kennedy and some people in his coaching group. And he talked about capacity, right? So when the dentist suddenly gets to open, not all those people who have pent up demand are created equal, right? Yeah. So a tooth cleaning, a regular checkup, is not nearly as important as someone having full, I don't even, everything else that could possibly go on, that maybe a 4 or 5 figure thing. So whether you can do it now or you have to wait and then do it because you're closed for whatever reason, who are the 5%? Because you're only going to have so much capacity if and when you come back, well, when you come back online, right? So do not treat them all the same. We have clients right now that mail every day or every week, right? Like I told you, we kind of set them up on a plan. We are doing things right now, so they would be our 5%. We are doing things right now for them to keep them happy, to keep them mailing, that we would never do for free. But we're doing them for free right now. Because we do not want them to say, no, I'm going to skip today, or I'm going to skip next week, right? That's not good for us, and frankly, it's not good for them. Their lead flow will dry up eventually too, right? So you want to create and do things for that 5% that, again, in the short term, it's going to go from 80-20 to 95-5. And during this recovery, it'll probably, it'll be 95-5, then 10-90, then 15-85. But you really got to concentrate on that and realize that not all customers, clients, patients, prospects are created equal. And how can you identify those who are the most important to you and get them to either come right now or when you are able to be doing business again, to get them back much more quickly. More quickly.
I'd love to comment on that.
Yeah, go for it.
That is absolutely brilliant, and I hadn't really thought of it. That's why these things are so cool. The hairdresser who has their person that's there all the time versus the walk-in.
Yep.
Make sure that you're taking care of that person that's there all the time right now and saying, hey, as soon as I can take you, whatever, some kind of relationship where they're able to. my wife has eyelashes. Okay, my God, if that gal were to call and or contact Patty now and say, hey, I want to get you in the first day I'm open, or within the first few days that I'm open, that relationship would be so. I mean, it's already fabulous, but it would be so huge. If you're a dentist, can you and there's any way of figuring out who might want to be in there right away? Try to figure that out. I don't know. Boy, there's all kinds of things. The other thing that happens with this whole VIP thing and making sure. I want to go back to the continuity a little bit. When you're delivering continuity, deliver great continuity. And if you do that, they'll stay. I need to tell you, I expected huge drop-offs in my leadership and my customer service monthly memberships. It's been almost nil. Evidently, they look at me as something they need, even in this time when they're looking at really tightening up your budget. So be of value. I mean, that's number one.
Yeah, I mean, it says it right here. Create ways to be actually, or at least emotionally, indispensable to your clientele or audience. Being just a choice is extremely dangerous, right? So add value. Take that top 5, that top 10%. Really give great value to them. Do everything you can to keep them coming if you're able, or to be sure that when you are able to work with them again, they're not wandering off. And really create a way, think about what kind of marketing can I do? How can I scrape this, how can I skim the top of this and really put some good programs together for the people who are most likely to give me money right after this.
And if you do have questions, or raise your hand there, and I think Travis can unmute you.
Yeah, if you have questions, raise your hand, and as we do that, I can unmute you. I've got my second monitor over here. That's why I'm always kind of looking down over here, because I can see if there's any questions. If you got a question, there should be a little thing on the bottom of your screen that says raise hand. I can unmute you, and we can, if you want to talk to all couple hundred of us, you're great. And if you just want to be anonymous with the chat, that's fine too. And we will be doing questions, live Q&A at the end for sure. So let's see here. Avoid government or outsiders' interference as much as possible. Almost impossible to avoid government interference right now for most of us, right? But there are things that you can do coming out of this to avoid government, to avoid, competitors, to avoid outside forces that may put a stranglehold on your business. So let's see here. Where's my mouse? Oop, what's going on here? There we go. So rethink the elements of your business that are most subject to outside interference, right? So look at those things. Where are the weaknesses that could infiltrate? Where are the opportunities for you to move out into a different place? So here's a couple examples for our medical people on the call. Concierge and cash only practices, that's one way to do it, right? Real estate agents are switching to the other side and becoming investors and flippers and rehabbers and things like that. And now they don't have to deal with all the rules and regulations that they have to deal with when they hang up their realtor shingle. I worked with a client many years ago now. It's probably been 7 or 8 years ago. He was a financial planner. And if you don't know, financial planners, insurance guys, they are heavily regulated on what they can and can't do and say, and they've got to have 17 layers of legalese on almost every piece of information that goes out the door. Well, in speaking with him, he had written a book, which if you've ever been on any of these calls with me, we are big proponents of writing a book. There's all kinds of things. We did a webinar with Mike Capuzzi on it last week, so I won't get big into it right now. But he wrote a book, right? And so now what he's able to do. Now, this was with the blessing of his, so I'm not giving you legal advice. This was with the blessing of his compliance team and the lawyers and all the crap that he has to deal with, right? But if he were to send out a piece of marketing to as a financial planner, he has to go, like I said, through 17 layers of hell to get things approved, and there's things they can and can't say, and if you send it to them, they send it back, and the whole damn thing is scribbled out with red ink because they can't say any of it, and it's got to have all kinds of disclaimers. Well, if he wants to now market a book as an author and strip away the ABC alphabet soup after his name and strip away the name of the company that he's working for, and now market the book as an author, a lot of that stuff now went away, right? He still had some compliance issues. He still had to do some things just to kind of cross their T's, dot their I's, but it was 90% less of what it was before. So for him, it was a transformation of how he marketed himself, and went from marketing himself as a financial planner to marketing himself as an author of a book about financial planning. And that got him out of a whole bunch of red tape. Again, when investing in others' businesses or publicly held companies, very carefully consider government risk. Consider the Google slap. I know we've all probably been there, or know of companies who have been there. The Facebook slap, right? The company who has made all their money on Facebook, and Facebook at 2:04 p.m. yesterday decided they couldn't advertise anymore, right? You got to get out from underneath those. You got to have multiple ways to get clients, right? That's what we're looking to do here. Keith, any thoughts?
Yeah, that's just huge. One is the loneliest number in business. One vendor that you rely on too much, one employee you rely on too much, one way of getting clients that you rely on too much. I saw, I've been 40 years a business owner now. I saw so many of my competitors go out of business because they relied on one of something. I had up here in the Seattle area, crazy guy, didn't even bother to call me. I would have bought his business, what was left of it, for something anyhow, but he didn't even bother to call. Was making display cases for Nordstrom, all wooden display cases for Nordstrom. Nordstrom decided to start making them themselves, open their own shop. He was out of business within weeks. He still had enough business. I would have bought the remainder, but so one is the loneliest number of anything. Do not rely on one vendor. Do not rely on one person. Do not rely on one way of getting clients. When Google went from national search to local search a number of years ago, I think it was
putting a premium on local over national.
Right. You're right. When you typed in, well, I'll give you an example. When you typed in plastic bags for retailers, anywhere in the country, I could have been in Shreveport, Louisiana, and we would have come up 1, 2, or 3 plastic bags for retailers. Not one page 1, 2, or 3, 1, 2, or 3. Anywhere in the country, we came up like right on the very top. They decided to go to more local search. and I'm in Shreveport, Louisiana, and I'm now on page 24. They're putting Costco in front of me. Plastic bags for retailers to use when they walk out the door. You can't rely on that. And luckily, it was huge for us. We went from literally 400 leads a week to 200 leads a week overnight on that. But we did a lot of other things, so it didn't kill us.
It made us uncomfortable.
Don't rely on one of anything. Do not have one employee that if they leave, you're up a creek.
A big one I see is one customer, one client. So you've got one person who has an outsized proportion of your sales or your profits. You go find another one of him, right? I mean,
we had
don't not sell to him, but you've got to have that pyramid, right? I mean,
yeah, I'll give you another example. We had REI. Our REI, recreational equipment, whatever they are, were so big they should have never been buying their paper bags from a distributor. They should have been buying them from a manufacturer direct. We got them, and I told the salesperson, we are not going to gear up. We'll go gear up to stock these things, but we're not going to gear up with anything that we can afford not to get rid of when they leave, because they will leave. I told that salesperson also, do not go out and buy a house based on your commission that you're getting here, because this will leave. So just do not get into that position. I've just seen it too many times. It sounds so cool when you have it. And it is so, again, way back, handheld price marking guns, guy would have a huge grocery chain. they go to barcoding, or somebody else comes in, they're out of business.
Yeah. Number 5, if at all possible, tap into foreign markets. So look for markets with a growing middle class, freer enterprise, less government sabotage, and here's a big one, and I've got kind of a story about this, less sophisticated marketing competition, right? So Keith and I, this was when I first got out of college, 25, maybe 24, probably 24. And we were in Bill Glazer's mastermind group. I'm sure you remember this story, Keith. If not, after I tell it, I'm sure you remember. There was one international guy, and he was from Spain. I believe it was Spain or Portugal. And he coached hair salons and massage part, the massage envies and the Gene Juarez's of the world. He coached them. And he would come to mastermind, and he would say, don't tell me what's working in the United States right now. That is so far beyond what my market is ready for, right? Tell me what was working in your company 18 months ago, 24 months ago. Because all I have to do, my competition is 3 years behind us, what we know and what we do here in the United States. If I stay a year ahead of them, I am making so much money, I don't even know what to do with it, right? So, I mean, he was able, now he was in Portugal or Spain or something like that and coaching those people. But is there a way that you can do that, right? And so that's why I bolded the less sophisticated marketing competition. In a lot of places in the world, they don't know what we know about direct response marketing, right? I think you had another guy when you were with Dan several years later who did the same thing in Russia, right? I mean, he was
that's why I was smiling so much. This guy was doing stuff Dan and us were doing 10 years ago and making money hand over fist.
Yeah, and he was doing something like 40 live events a year, something crazy like that, teaching internet marketing. And he was using this was 2015-ish now, fast forwarding from the guy in Spain. So
he was doing the kind of events that 10 years before that, 2005, 2004, when I did my event with Bill Glazer, and we got 800 people into a room, and he was doing all this kind of stuff with very little marketing cost, kind of marketing cost you had like 20 years ago in the U.S.
Yep.
And just kicking butt. And all I'm going to add here too is that, the internet can really help in this. I'm just surprised. I'm sending 20% of my newsletters out of the country. And all over the world in many cases. Germany, England, Australia, about 20% of my overall business is outside of the U.S.
Yeah, and it's obviously it's great for information marketers, so people like us who sell our expertise. I know Bruce is on the call. Bruce is on the line. You might think of a photographer as a fairly ultra, local type of business, right? Well, Bruce, because of the way he positions himself and does the things that he does, he took what was it, the second prince in line for the throne of Japan, and they flew him out first class and put him up in Japan for 3 weeks to take pictures at their wedding, right? Because of how he positioned himself in the States, right? So again, even a local business can by and large do this, right? I mean, there's a reason you see, plastic surgeons advertising in national magazines. I mean, there's a reason for that. Most people think they only got this big of a circle, right? Expand that circle as much as you can. How can you expand that circle? Can we go from hyper-local to regional to national to international? How can you expand that circle?
Yeah, I got to add one more on Bruce. And he was flown on private jet to Italy to do portrait photography for a family. Local, most people don't think of doing anything like that. He's been all over the world because of that. And if you want great photography, go to Hudson. What is it? Hudson Design or whatever.
HudsonPortraits.com. Free plug for you, Bruce.
Portraits. But we're not
get the
here
next
to
glass of wine next time we see you.
But I mean, what a great example. I mean, my goodness, a portrait photographer getting flown to Japan, getting flown to Italy.
So this one's a sticky one right now, and I bring it up, and I know some of you may disagree, but reducing your staff and payroll is very important right now. You want to concentrate your money to direct high-value employees and essential people, right? Many businesses right now are trying to keep everybody, and that's noble. It's probably not sustainable, right? So you're not doing yourself or your business any favors if you go out of business because you have too much cash going out the door, right? So your goal is to right now survive. The goal right now is to get as quickly to break even as possible if you are not there right now, right? So if you're bleeding money, the goal is to break even so that when we're able to open the door, when we're able to have some of that pent-up demand come back, and there will be some, I don't care if this thing lasts 2 more hours, 2 more days, 2 more weeks, or 2 more years, there will be pent-up demand in many, many industries, right? There just will be. But your goal is to survive, get to break even as soon as humanly possible if you're not there right now, and then bring them back as you can, right? Again, if you go out of business, now nobody's getting the paycheck, right? So your job is to survive. Survive, survive, survive. Keep it alive so that you can bring those people back. And maybe some of those people you may not bring back. A great thing about this right now is there are going to be a whole lot of qualified people looking for jobs here relatively soon again, right? So there is some upside to this, and every downside there's an upside.
Yeah, I got to go back.
Yeah, go for it.
You probably saw my facial expressions. It was one of the worst days of my life. When 2008, we went from 60 people to 40 people. Our business dropped a third overnight, and I hit it right in that I knew in my mind that it was not coming back anytime soon. Worst day of my life, laying off 20 people. When people get hired, I only had 4 people reporting to me because I only had managers reporting to me. So I didn't get the pleasure of hiring very many people. So my other managers got to hire people. And I had a rule with them that if you hire them, you fire them also if they need to leave. In this case, it was me. I said, no, this is not your fault. You don't have to lay these people off. It's me. Sorry, gosh, where did that come from? It ended up being fabulous for our business. We had to do it. We survived. The good thing about it is that we were able to keep the 40 best. We were able to keep them without without hardly any pay reductions, because we cut staff by the same amount that we cut our sales drop. And then we lost money in 2008. Well, we made money in 2008 because it didn't happen until October, the crash. We lost money in 2009, significant amount. We had our highest profit ever in 2010 because we had the 40 best. We had gone to zero-based budgeting, meaning we looked at every single expense we had. We determined whether we could chop it or not. We went from Starbucks coffee to Folgers. We went from outside janitorial to inside. It's something that if you're there, you have to do it. The great thing, well, if you get it, we can get, we better not get into politics. If you can get the paycheck protection loans, great. Mine is in. Don't know if I'll get it. Hopefully we will. But it is easier now. Unemployment's supposed to be easier, but up here in Washington State, I'm seeing all kinds of people denied, even though they were promised they were going to get it. But off of that, you got to make that choice if it means your business. So okay, we use zero-based budgeting. Zero-based budgeting is basically, typically, I'll be real quick on this. Zero-based budgeting, typically you say, okay, next year I'm going to increase my sales by 10%. So we'll increase our budget for almost everything else by 10% or just slightly thereunder. Zero-based budgeting says, if I had to start all over again, what would I be paying for this stuff? Okay. So, and the other thing you need to do right now is I'm not saying beat up your vendors. You should not beat up your vendors, but you should be going to them and asking them for help if you can. Should be This is another whole hour that I could spend on this one, but you should be shopping for new things. For instance, in 2008.
Let's hold off on that because I've got that. I think we got a great spot for that here.
Okay, let's wait then. I'll try and get some of these. I'll let you go, and I'll try and get some of these questions here.
Bruce wants in, so Bruce, I'm going to unmute you here. Like I said, you can buy the glass of wine here next time I see it. Bruce, can you hear me? You there, Bruce? Unmute yourself.
Josh isn't there to unmute him.
Uh-oh.
Josh is his son, kind of like Travis with me when I get stuck on technology.
Can I unmute you, Bruce?
Sorry, am I here?
Yeah, there you go. What's up, Bruce?
Did you need me? I was multitasking.
No, you raised your hand and said you wanted in. Well, get out of here then.
That was an hour ago.
What's that?
That was an hour ago.
Yeah, sorry. All right, I thought you had something to add.
So Bruce
You're out of here.
Photographer being flown to Japan and Italy to take pictures.
All right, let's move on. So, because you mentioned, doing, opportunities elsewhere. So we'll get to that in a second. Operate and live beneath your income and build reserves, right? So if you are investing cash, you're incurring debt for growth, expansion, acquisition. Be extremely careful and certain you get everything as you want it, and it adds immediate value. So this is kind of what money's cheap right now, right? Yeah. Borrowing money is cheap. So if you have cash reserves, or if you have the ability to take that on, it's really cheap. Cash investments, right? If you have cash to invest, negotiate that hard. Right? I think that's kind of what you were hinting at when go to your vendors, go to your suppliers, go to outside sources. Things that were not negotiable 4 weeks ago are now all of a sudden negotiable, right? So I'll let you were kind of hinting that direction anyway with the last slide.
Yeah, and I think this is in a slide later on too, but it may be a great time to make an acquisition of a competitor.
Yep. It is in my slides later, but yes, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll talk about that more later then. But when I go back to right now is the time to look at everything. I had a fabulous operations manager. I put her in charge of looking at all of our products. She was the head of our finding out zero-based budgeting. She didn't do it all by herself, but she led that team. And so we went and shopped product too, and we found we sold a lot of packaging tape, package up stuff. We ended up with a way better tape product and a way better price by going out and shopping it, especially if you're sitting there and you don't have a lot to do because you're out of business or whatever. This is a great time to go shop places and find out. And I do not believe in holding your vendors up. I am one of the most loyal customers you will have. I have vendors that were with me for literally 35 years. But you need to go back to them if possible and see, what can you do to help me right now?
Yeah.
And the other thing to make sure is that no one ever gets a better deal than you unless they're doing something to get that's they deserve it. Higher volume, for instance, etc. But go ahead. I'll let you go, Carl.
Yep, so we're going to move on so we can get through here in roughly our hour that I promised you. Number 2 is be paranoid, right? Fear Amazon. Don't get Amazon. They're entering every business possible. Really fear the government. I won't get into that too much. Fear bubbles, right? So ask yourself, how can I best separate my business and prosperity from these risks? So we talked a little bit about the Google slap, the Facebook slap, right? You know, diversity leads to stability, right? So be aware of the things that are coming, right? I mean, be aware of, if you're a restaurant owner, be aware right now of what's going to be needed when you do get to reopen and sit customers again. If you're a dentist and you're only doing emergency care, you're not doing every other stuff. Be aware right now of the things that you're going to have to do in order to reopen or ramp up, so that when we do get the signal to go back, you are ready. You do not want to be, sitting on the sidelines waiting, twiddling your thumbs because you weren't proactively looking at the things that you were going to have to do in order to be ready to open again, right? But the flip side of that is, do not overly worry, because worrying is unhealthy and it paralyzes you, right? So do take action. Cautious worry, hope for the best, prepare for the worst, right, is the best way to do it. So take action. But be aware of those outside influences. Be aware of, is Amazon coming to take my business? Is something else coming to take my business that I'm not aware of? So be wary, and this really goes back to putting that iron cage around your business as well. So Keith, any thoughts there before we go into our last couple?
I'm sorry, I was answering that. Yeah. I'm totally paranoid, and I need to watch out to not be too paranoid. So that's one that I don't need to. I didn't need your slide. I need a slide that says. But Dan, that's one of Dan's. Always be paranoid. That comes from Dan Kennedy, like a lot of this stuff. And what could happen, and the way to use that properly is to look at what could happen, what can I do about that, but not overly worry about what could happen and what I could do about that.
Cool. A couple more, and then we'll get to your Q&A here. Reconsider your business model. So to spread fixed costs over more customers, consider becoming larger by growth, acquisition, or both. So we talked about this a little bit with living below your means and the other stuff, right? If you're healthy and you've got cash, or you've got the ability to borrow money very inexpensively, now it is a great time to expand via acquisition. Find those struggling businesses. Infuse the direct response marketing. Infuse your whatever your unique selling proposition is to that marketplace. Infuse that struggling business with it, and you'll oftentimes get, I don't want to say pennies on the dollar for your investment, but you'll get it at a reduced rate. The business owner you're buying out now has money to do what they want to do, right? So it's a win-win there, right? So that's a way to do this, is that. The other way, exiting a business or creating a second business that is not tied up in the same way that the present one is, right? So this is a great time now to be looking at second, third, fourth incomes into your business, right? Again, preparing, laying the groundwork for when that pent up demand does get unleashed on us. Some states it's going to be relatively soon. Some states it might be longer, but be ready for it. What do you have that can be added on, bolted on, complementary to your business? Any thoughts on that, Keith?
Yeah, very much thoughts on that.
All right.
I bought 11 competitors over the years. It's one of the best things you can do to grow your business. And here's what I look for. I look for businesses that had a customer list, basically, is all I really needed, okay? Some of them I actually bought to get their products, not to get more volume in product, not customers, but that, again, is a longer story.
Yeah, but most of them we were buying customers, essentially.
We're buying customers, okay? And what I look for, I look for businesses that were run poorly, because I knew that I could come in because I had the systems in place. This is what's critical. If you're going to do this, if you're a dentist and you want more offices, if you're whatever and you want more of anything and want to duplicate them, a grocery store with adding more stores, drugstore adding more stores, you better have your systems down, okay? And that's, frankly, that's what I do, is I help people get their systems down. But if you have problems now and you add another location, you're just going to multiply your problems exponentially, not times 2, but exponentially. So you've got to have your systems in place. It's one of the best things you can do to grow your business. It can lead you to a place where now when it's time to exit your business, you have some real value. You know, the dentist that typically, going back to that one now, the typical dentist is selling their practice for $750,000. If they haven't done a lot of other retirement stuff other than that, they're having a problem because they're walking away with $500,000 worth of cash, and that's not a lot to retire on. Yep. But if you've got 4 or 5 offices, now you've got something, and that's exactly what happened with my businesses. I bought 11 competitors. We grew significantly. But you better have your systems in place, and you better not have operational problems now. If you have operational problems now and you multiply locations, you're going to have exponentially larger problems.
Last one, be alert and be agile. The biggest advantage we have as small business owners and entrepreneurs is our agility and our speed. Right, so if you are up against some big competition, the big boys in the industries of your world, being agile, being quick is a huge opportunity for you. Antenna always up, right? Be willing and able to act quickly against threats or toward opportunities. That is the being able to be nimble, having staff in place who are up to the task of doing stuff quickly and getting it done in a timely manner. All of those things are going to have a huge advantage for you. Most people are have self-imposed their ability to grow. They have self-imposed these barriers. So it's not the business that we're in, right? That won't work in our business, but that's not how it's done here. Frankly, for the next several months, everything should be on the table. If any way that you can, if any ways that you have to grow sales, to grow profits, to bring people into the business, any and all of that should be on the table right now. You know, you've got to be quick, nimble, and you've got to be able to react quickly. Keith, thoughts?
Yeah, when people ask me what's the number one thing, because I get asked it quite often, what's the number one thing you've learned from Dan Kennedy over the years? It's changed throughout the years, but right now, if I look back on everything, it would be do lots of stuff.
Yep. Do
lots of things. Try lots of different marketing. Try this. There was a book out a while back, Fail Faster. Yep. Don't be afraid to fail. You know, try something. The other thing that I would say is is test small, then roll out big. My biggest mistakes in, again, the 40 years I've been doing this stuff, was looking at something and thinking, this can't fail, and going into it big time and it's failing. Okay, test small, and if it doesn't work, tweak it and test it again. And if it doesn't work, dump it. If you test it and it tests small well, test it again, a little bigger, test it again, and then roll it out. Do lots of stuff. I mean, we do lots of stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
that's why you find things. And again, Bruce on this call is one of them that is one of my favorite clients. He's in our mastermind group up here in Seattle. He does so many different things. It's just crazy. And what's crazier is some of the things. One of the things, I won't get into it because we don't have time right now. One of the things that he did just for a short-term cash flow purpose ended up being maybe his number one marketing thing that he does right now for his entire business. And he originally did it just for a short-term cash flow infusion. So do lots of stuff.
Yeah, and it really is a question of it's not success and failure, it's success in what doesn't work, right? Marketing your business. We should be in week 3 of baseball season right now. Marketing your business is a lot like being an all-star in baseball. You can hit 300 and go to the Hall of Fame, right? And it's very similar with your marketing, right? In that, you may only have 30, 40% of it that works, but if you're doing a lot of things, you get to those 30 and 40% things faster, right? So nothing should be off the table right now. We will leave it at that with our top 10 here. Looks like you guys have enjoyed this. I'm going to pull down my screen here real quick. Hopefully you guys have gotten something out of this. This is something that Keith and I would like to do with you guys on a monthly basis. Those of you that don't know, we run a monthly marketing power lunch here in the Seattle area, but it's live, it's in person. We rent out a restaurant space. Obviously that's on hold right now. As soon as we're able to go to a restaurant again, we plan on doing it. We plan on opening that back up. But what we would love to do with you guys here over the next couple months is to get together and do this power lunch every single month with you guys, right? The fee is going to be extremely nominal. This is not something that we want to get rich off of. This is something that we want to cover our costs, give back to you, keep you guys in business, keep you coming. And then obviously the backside of this is when things turn around, we're here for you as well. So we want to do this for you every single month. We'd love to have you. There's really 2 options here. I'll go over red and green.
Before you do that, can I just butt in real quick?
Yeah.
We've done these monthly lunches in Seattle now for 168 straight months. People come to them, and they only come to them because, and this is the exact format we use. Travis leads it. I give my 2 cents. We'll probably have a little bit more interaction as we go forward with these. We'll because we knew we were going to have a huge numbers on this. We didn't make it nearly as interactive. So there'll be a lot more interaction as we go because we don't expect 200 people to take us up on this thing. But we've done these for 168 months in a year, or 168 months in a row. People keep coming to them, and we have a great time. So that's all I want to add. Is it's not something new for us. We know what brings people back to these marketing lunches. So I'll let you go from there.
Yeah. So we just want to bring this to you every single month. There's a couple different options here. One, you can do it free for 60 days. So you will actually get 3 meetings because this one doesn't count. So you'll get May and June. After that, it'd be $29 a month. You can decide if you want to keep going with us or not at that point. So you get Keith and I. Frankly, this is the cheapest you'll ever get the 2 of us together on a call and answer your questions, right? Keith, it also comes with Lee Miltier's Millionaire Smarts. If you were on Keith's call with Lee Miltier 2 weeks ago and you signed up for Lee's Millionaire Smarts program, you're going to get this. If you are part of Keith's coaching group that does with his marketing or management system and you get Lee Miltier's stuff, you're going to get this as well, right? So if you're doing those 2 things, you'll get it. Keith, why don't you give us the 60-second view of what Lee Meal Tier brings. I know it's a little confusing. You got Keith Lee, you got Travis Lee, you got Lee Meal Tier.
Okay.
Like what does Lee bring to this into this equation?
Yeah, so again, if you were on that call with Lee and you signed up for that, you're going to get this stuff for free. It's not going to, we decided that we're going to give you Lee and this for free, or for the same price. So Lee Meal Tier, when I first...
Well, I'm sorry, let me back up real quick. To get to this page, go to keithlee.com/lunch. And I'm going to put that into the chat here, and then you can pick up with Lee Meal Tier. Sorry.
Yeah, okay.
Kind of an important detail.
keithlee.com/lunch.
Yeah,
okay.
Go and check the chat. You should be able to copy and paste that right there.
So when I started doing my management consulting after I sold 3D Mail Results, I wanted monthly newsletter, continuity, etc. With my leadership newsletter, people get leadership, they get and customer service. And then I look back on what was really important for me as a business owner over the years. And one thing is that if I had not been surrounded by, if I hadn't gone to work for a guy named Dick Thompson, who introduced me to people like Zig Ziglar and Tom Hopkins and some of those guys, I would have never been able to do what I did. I would have never had the right mindset to do that. So that was critically important for me. And not only when I started, but it was critically important as I went to get that monthly checkup from this kind of stuff. So what I did is I wanted to get into my membership, the best of that's out there right now, and that's Lee Meal Tier. She does the mindset stuff. She helps you keep the right mindset so that we move forward. And it's way more than motivation. It's motivation plus. And that's why I put her in on my membership program in the first place, because it was something that I just thought was so important. So then when we did the interview with Lee last week, I was like, Lee, can I offer this separate and not just have it in my leadership program? And she says, Keith, I don't allow that. And I said, well, Lee, well, I didn't say anything. And she said, well, Keith, I don't allow that, but these are special times, so go ahead and do it. So normally it's just for people that are paying big bucks to be in some kind of membership program. She allowed us to do it here. So thank you, Lee, and I'll let you go on with the rest.
Yeah, so you'll get that. So if you signed up for that last week, you're going to get these lunches. Come to the lunches or not, right? So you'll get it. But if you do the lunches, you'll get the Lee Meal Tier stuff, right? You'll get these once a month. We're still in the baby stages of this. We're going to have a full schedule out for you. Keith and I talked last Friday and said, hey, let's put something together. Let's bring that mastermind group or that lunch group to all of our people. So we'll, the little minutia details we're going to hammer out here in the coming weeks. But they will be once a month. You'll get us on the call. We're gonna talk marketing. We're calling it Getting Your Marketing and Get Your Mind Right every single month. So you get those two things, 2 months free, some other goodies in there. Sign up, hit the red button if that's what you want. If you know this is what you want and you know you want to join us, you can get 12 months for the price of 9. So that'd be 29 times 9 is 261. So if you want to do that, that's an option as well. You also get a handful of awesome bonuses that will give you the bonuses easily make up for the 261 if you were to buy them a la carte. I have a program called my 3-part direct mail training. It's called the Simple 3-Step Process that ensures direct mail success. You'll get instant access to that if you hit the green button. You'll get Keith Lee's business system, best kept marketing, or best kept customer secret. I can't talk. Best kept customer service secrets. There we go. You'll get that as well. That's digitally delivered to you, so you'll get instant access to that. You'll also get Keith and I were in Dan Kennedy's Titanium Mastermind group for several years.
Hey, Trav, I need to go back on that.
Yeah.
We did something cooler than that.
Well, we can talk about that later.
Yeah, but just real quick, they're getting my first day customer service training for their team when they start out. It's a fabulous program.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, you got to get that to me because you never gave it to me.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, gotta. So anyway, Titanium Marketing. We were in Dan Kennedy's Titanium Marketing group for 2 years in a row. We stayed behind an extra day and did roundtable discussions on it. The first one was on marketing and money making secrets. The second one was on lead generation marketing, right? So you'll get those bonuses. So if you know you want to do this and you want those bonuses, click that red button there. But again, if you know,
Green button.
Green button, excuse me. It's the green button if you want the full year for $261. If you want just the 2-month free trial, you can do that. It'll be $29 a month starting in your third month. This is our value added. If you just decide to do the month to month and you're kind of thinking like I am, which is, yeah, in 2 months we may or may not be back fully, but we're going to be on the road to being back, and you don't need this anymore, that's fine, right? That's kind of why we set it up this way. It kind of gets you to and through the summer. We want to give back to you guys, and then if you want to continue to do it after that, we'll continue to do this. If you want to do the membership, the full year at $261, get an awesome discount on that. You can do that as well. Month to month with the red, year in full in the green with all the bonuses. Other than that,
and again, this is both Lee and this monthly call with us, and it'll be fun. We'll have fun.
Yep. Jim, yes, you asked if we would record these. Yes. If you do either way, whether you do the month to month or the yearly, these meetings and the notes and the slides will be put up onto our membership portal, right? So when again, there's going to be a few things we got to hammer out on the back end of this, but these will all be, so if you can't attend live, we will have these for you available in the membership portal as well. You'll have the slides, you'll have the notes. I often do handouts. I didn't do them this time again because of the format. But yeah, you will have access to these. And frankly, we'll live there. They'll live there forever. I mean, we don't, the great thing about the internet is it goes forever, right? So if we do this for another 168 months, we'll have 168 months there too. So let's see here. Will these lunches be Zoom meetings? They'll be very similar to this format. They'll be very, very similar to this. We plan on more interactive type stuff. We plan on doing more Q&A. This one went a little long. What we probably end up doing is more 40-ish minute presentations with 20-ish minute open phone lines. So that's what we plan on doing. It'll be a Zoom meeting. We're going to record it. We'll push it out to the membership site a day or two later. So those of you who can't make it. Brett, you asked who we use for a membership site. I use Customer Hub because it's tied to Infusionsoft, and I'm up to my nose in Infusionsoft right now, so that's who I use. I couldn't survive without them right now, so it's Customer Hub. I think they use other things. Let's see. Any other questions? Yeah.
Brad, I think. Are we planning third Tuesday of every?
We're gonna have to look at a calendar. We're gonna have to look at a calendar for this. What our live in-person lunch that we do here with our people in the Seattle area, it's the fourth Tuesday. What are we at here? We're now the third Thursday. We'll figure it out. We will get you a whole schedule out way in advance. We will hammer that out. Bear with us to a little bit, right? But again, everything's going to be recorded. You'll know the topic ahead of time. So if you have specific questions for that audience, or excuse me, for that topic, you can send questions ahead of time. We're going to do a whole bunch of stuff like that, right?
And the question was asked here again. They will be recorded and they will be in a membership portal. So if you miss it, you can go catch up there. Yeah,
this won't be something where you have to. We'd love to have everybody live. You'll get more out of it because you'll be able to ask your own questions. But we'll live. It will live on our memberships portal. If you do the green button, which is the year in full, to access all that stuff, it's in our membership portal, so it'll be right there. If you do the green one, we'll have to get you set up, but that won't take any time at all, right? We'll give this as a replay. You'll get all that. So some of the techie stuff you're going to have to give us maybe through the weekend. But just like whatever it was, slide number 9: be quick, be agile. Don't think, just do. We're doing right now, right? So that's what we wanted to do. And really, like I said, when we designed this to be kind of a 2-month kind of free trial, both of us have talked, and we think we're going to be on our way at least by then. So since you have time right now, a lot of us are wondering what to do. This is a great way to do that. You get the bonuses. Let's see.
Yeah, if I can really quickly, Trav.
Yeah.
Both of these, both Lee Miltier and this, started as came from a suggestion from Dan Kennedy on what to do right now. And that is find something that you can do for your clients for free that is of value to them right now and give it to them. Okay. That's where the Lee thing came in. That's where this came in. Travis and I talked, and I said we should be doing one of these. And then here's the reality: we did our last local lunch, via Zoom because we couldn't go to the restaurant.
Closed our
I'm on that
space.
meeting and Travis is leading it, and I'm sitting here doing this thing, and that was a Zoom where we had all their their videos up and we could see them, and all of these people are like, yeah. They're interacting every bit as much on the Zoom call as they did locally. And so then I went to Travis, I said, hey, when we do this call for free, we need to have a membership after it. That's where it came from. And I wrote about that. If you don't get I'm not going to, I'll redo it. If I get enough people, I'll reschedule my making lemonade for tomorrow. But that's what I talk about in my making lemonade for tomorrow. From now on, I'm going to every February, I'm going to think of what can I give my clients, even not just clients, but my clients and those who follow me, what can I give them for free that they can use right now? And I'm going to do that without thinking about if there's a back end. What ended up happening here again is with the lead thing and this thing, there is a back end. And we're going to have a ball doing it. So that's, again, I would really encourage you. Different topic right now. Give anyone who's following you, if you can possibly give them anything for free right now that they can use and is value to them, do it.
Yeah. Brett asked if Keith is my father. Yes, he is my father.
Oh.
But before he turned gray, is he your brother?
Now
that he's a little grayer, I get, he must be your father. But 10 years ago, we had similar haircuts, and he wasn't quite as gray. And he just must be your much, much, much older brother. No, he's my father. Yeah.
I need to tell you a story here.
So anyway,
I've got to tell you a story here. I got involved with Dan Kennedy in 1992. And Travis got involved with Dan Kennedy in 1992 also. That's because Travis, at 12 years old then, was stuffing direct mail envelopes. he's been in direct mail. Yeah, what are you? You're almost 40 now, right, Travis?
Yeah, almost 40.
So you've been in direct mail for what? I don't know, 27 years, and you're only 40 years old.
Yeah. If I wanted movie money, or the biggest, I was a swimmer and a water polo player. And if I wanted to go on a traveling team, I had to, here's a box of envelopes, get stuffing, kid. And that's how I earned my way to various swim meets and water polo tournaments and things like that. So yeah.
Some of the things, and one of the things that we'll cover on one of these meetings is, for instance, that very first direct mail program I did with Dan Kennedy, and which led to somewhere around, that very first one, which was only a mailing to 500 people, brought in somewhere around $5 million. At 500 clients, brought in $5 million over the next 20-some years that I had them. One of the clients that I got, Timberline Ventures up in Alaska, did over $1 million with us from that dollar bill letter. So we've got a bit of experience that we're going to be sharing, and we'll have fun. I keep saying fun. That's one of the other things. We're going to get off here pretty soon, but you guys are still there, so we'll keep talking. One of the other things is have fun.
Never miss an opportunity to talk to a group of people if they're still listening.
Yeah. My wife says never give them a microphone. Okay, we're done, Trav, or where we go? Oh, we have quick Q&A. What other Q&A do we have?
I'm going through the Q&A. It's mainly just Terry played water polo at UCLA. Terry, you were much, much better than I was. I
wasn't going to say that, but I was going to say, wow, you were UCLA is about as good as you can get for playing water polo.
Yeah, I mean, well, you got the big four. You got Stanford, Cal, USC, and UCLA, right? And every once in a while, a Pepperdine or somebody will slip in there, a Long Beach. But anyway, yeah, Terry, you were much, much better than I ever was. I was too short. They didn't recruit guys that were 5'10". I know. I think I got it here. I think we covered all of it. There's no hand raised. Again, keithlee.com/lunch. Let's see here. Do we have another one? When will these lunches start? Are they only monthly? If we can't make it as recorded, yeah, Tim, they will be recorded. They will be monthly. Since we're in the middle of the month and we'll probably do these on a continuing basis more towards the end of the month, we might have a month where we double up so we can get onto a schedule, right? Again, some of that's up in the air.
Tim is asking here, what one new marketing or lead generation effort would you focus on today? I got to tell you that can only be answered if we know way more about your business. Not what you can type in here, but way more about your business. It just really depends. I wouldn't even think of saying one.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good answer. George asks, is this geared towards business owners or can sales or marketing people benefit? If you have people, what I tell people, and this is what I tell people that come to our lunches, yes, it's geared towards the business owner, but if you have people who implement your marketing on your behalf, they should be on those calls. Frankly, I don't have any. I mean, you got me in a weak moment, George. If you want to bring your entire staff, go right ahead. Right? So
yeah, and the thing, and George, for if you're a salesperson, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
as a salesperson, you're almost as a salesperson, if you've got some ability to affect what gets done in the business, which you should, and even if you don't, even if it's just sales and you can't even affect marketing, I doubt you're in that position. I still look at myself as primarily a salesperson. So that, I think, answers that question, is that I'm still a salesperson, and this is what gets my blood going.
Yeah, and again, if this is in regards, George, to having a team, if your people are the ones implementing your ideas, have them on it, have them watch the replays. That's what I encourage people to do. Even in Dan Kennedy's private mastermind group, he would always let you bring one or two guests because he realized the mastermind group is only as good as the people who are implementing it for these people a lot of times, right? So you'd often see that. So let's see here. That's all I have for questions. So if you want it, keithlee.com/lunch. That's what we're going to do. Tim, these will be over lunch. Like I said, give us a couple days to figure out all the nitty-gritty details. It'll be sometime between either 10 or 11 Pacific. So it'll either be a brunch for us on the West Coast or a lunchtime snack for you on the East Coast, but it'll be somewhere in there. That's what we plan on doing. So with that, Keith, I think we're probably going to sign off here. I know we got through the meat of it all in an hour. Formatting will be similar, 40-ish minutes on a topic. We'll open it up for Q&A. A lot more Q&A, I'm hoping, going forward. But if I don't see any other calls, Sally wants a strategy call. Sally, email Tara, T-A-R-A, at 3dmailresults.com. T-A-R-A, the number 3, the letter D, M-A-I-L-R-E-S-U-L-T-S.com, and we'll get you on a schedule for that.
Yeah, and Travis does marketing, consulting, etc. I do team member or team development, getting your team up to, and if you're interested in that, just email me directly, keith@keithlee.com. And yep, you've got my email, Tim. I put Travis's email on here earlier. He's he does more of that Dan Kennedy stuff. He's harder to get to sometimes than me. but I'll just he's Travis at 3dmailresults.com. Travis is like, but no, we're both pretty darn accessible.
Cool. Awesome. Well, with that, if you want to do it, keithlee.com/lunch, month to month. You're in full access. Pick your poison. We'll love to see you there, and we'll get you more information as we move forward on this. Ready, fire, aim is what we're doing here. So we'll get you more info. Sign up for one of them. We'd love to have you. Other than that, have a great afternoon. And if you can, go make some money. The economy needs it. See you guys.
Bye.